any for David Moyes' thoughts today on what was, I think, a completely underwhelming transfer window? Well, clearly it was underwhelming. We didn't sign anyone. I think really the question is whether David Moyes thinks it was good that we didn't sign anyone or whether he thinks it was bad. Does he have any regrets that we didn't? I'm not just pinning the blame on this on Moyes, by the way. I think everybody's to blame, and I'm going to get through them all, hopefully, within this relatively short video, which will probably go on for longer than the normal 10-odd minutes. But I think this is well worth going into. I didn't do the video last night after our transfer deadline day show. Wanted to sleep on it. No surprise, woke up just as disappointed. Why am I disappointed? Well, look, okay, I'm disappointed because we didn't sign any players. Why do I want us to sign players? Because I believe that signing players will help us gain points, win games, finish higher up in the league. I might be proved wrong. Okay, I might be proved wrong. This group of players may stay injury-free, may not get fatigued, and we may end up having a fantastic season. If that happens, I'll get to the end of the season and I'll say, do you know what? Moyes called it absolutely right. Just in the same way that I have every other time Moyes has called this absolutely right. I suspect it might bite us on the arse. I suspect that the lack of bringing in sufficient cover in a couple of areas may cost us. I think at centre-half, look, let's be absolutely fair here. Ogbonna ain't coming back this season, if at all, right? If at all. That means our defence is weakened. It means Zuma's going to play out of position. He's going to play on the left rather than the right. It's not ideal at all. We're going to leak more goals as a result. Now, clearly, David Moyes is thinking, well, okay, David Moyes will know this. He's thinking, okay, we'll leak more goals. I can handle that. Whatever. He's either going to coach the defence better or he's confident of scoring more up the other end. I think Ben Rama's coming back. I think that's a good thing. I'm really pleased to see him. Goodness, we need him. I think a lot was hinged on Jesse Lingard coming. That's the naive bit, one of them. I'll get to that in just a second. Clearly, he's confident in Mikel Antonio scoring or creating a lot of goals and whatever his plan B is. It's a risk. I think that's risky. I think that is more risky than bringing in somebody, even if it's just on loan. But it was an underwhelming window, let's be perfectly honest. And I think an absolutely terrible last transfer deadline day because we left it so late. Completely naive to leave it so late, by the way. The Lingard thing is a farce, an absolute farce. We should have known that was never going to happen. All the warning signs were there. And I tell you what, I actually think because we were so desperate to get Lingard, we sacrificed bringing someone else in. But on a deal that was never going to happen. But listen, before I go any further, just point you towards our Patreon page, if I may, please. That's patreon.com/hammerschat. It's a great way, it's a great way for you to support us, if you'd be so kind. It's a massive help to Hammers Chat. We've got a lot of projects planned for the upcoming year. Myself and Gio, this is our job now. Charlie is a massive part of everything as well for us. So you get a lot of additional content as well, by the way. Hopefully you enjoy that additional content. And we've been doing little clips and showing you little bits and pieces. But that's patreon.com/Hammers Chat. There's several different tiers. So basically, the more you spend, the more you get. But we're happy with anybody that can honestly contribute anything to help us out. And now's the best time to do it, by the way. Start of the month is always the best time to join Hammers Chat. Or you can join for over the year and you get 10% off. Anyway, that's actually probably won't be the last time I say that, but there we go. That's our Patreon, and thanks for everybody that has. I've got to say thanks for everybody that's done that, by the way. Particularly this a bad month for I think for everybody in terms of January after Christmas. That the Patreon thing really has kept us going. The people that are our patrons have really kept us going. In terms of wages for January, can't say any more than that. We're very, very grateful. So thank you very much. In terms of just Jesse Lingard, why on earth are we chasing this? I've lost count of the amount of times that we said on this channel, or myself and Gio, that this just wasn't going to happen. There's no advantage, and this is why it's naive. There's no advantage to Man United to sell to West Ham. Just they don't want it. It doesn't matter whether they should or shouldn't see us as rivals. We're comparable positions in the league. That was stupid. There's a whole team of people there. There's David Moyes, there's coaches, there's the bosses, the board. Somebody to turn around and say, look, stop chasing. You're chasing your tail here. You're never going to catch it. This is not going to happen. Focus on somebody else. Why did everybody there believe this was going to happen? Why? to get to the last day and still be chasing him. And you even heard on Sky Sports, Man United weren't answering the phone. Of course they bloody weren't. Really naive. The Leeds sting, the Rafinha and the Calvin Phillips one, completely naive to think that anybody was going to do a business, particularly a team that want to keep above the relegation zone, that close to the window. It's a transaction, and I've kept saying it's got to be advantageous to both parties. I gave the analogy last night. It's like me trying to load my daughter into the car to take her on the school run, and someone coming up to me and saying, I'd like to buy your car. I'm sorry, mate, I can't. I've got to drive now. I've got to get in the car. I'll give you £3,000. No, mate, that doesn't matter. I'll give you £3,100. Mate, it doesn't matter. I don't have enough time to get a replacement car or get my daughter to school. I need to go now. It's not for sale now. Come back later. We'll talk about it. And this is inherently what we were doing with Leeds United. We didn't give them any incentive to do the transfer, which makes you cynical. Did we really want to do the transfer? I know some have suggested it was a ruse to take the spotlight off of other transfers that may have not been going on. Maybe. Sounds complicated. Maybe it was just a poorly thought out deal. Maybe it was just left too late. Maybe Leeds just were never going to sell to West Ham. In the same way that Man United were never going to do that. Our targets seemed unrealistic and unprepared. We've had a director of football. It's actually not a director of football. This is something I want to get onto as well. He is a director of recruitment or head of recruitment. I've seen a lot of comments over the last couple of days that people are confusing Rob Newman with a scout. The club were really clear on this. Really, really clear. Rob Newman has been brought in by David Moyes to recruit and to negotiate the deals. We've been told this several times. David Sullivan will take a back step. This is the guy that will get in and he will conclude the deals. Now, I mean, it's just not happened. Again, I'm not sticking it all on Newman. I think everybody is to blame in this. If that's not the case, and Rob Newman is not closing those deals, and actually it was Sullivan, then we need to know. Then tell us why. Tell us why Rob Newman's not, because that's what he's meant to be there for. We left it too late. We'll get to the guy at Benfica. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. The Uruguayan striker. Again, where is the benefit to Benfica? They just can't do it. If we'd have got them at the start of the window, and they might have turned around and said, okay, this gives us a bit of time. We can go and scout that fella at Corinthians who we've been looking at. There's someone in the there's someone at Braga who we've been looking at. We might go and see Nicolas Striker from Porto. They would have had time to do something. Basically, the 50 million or whatever we've offered becomes an advantage to them. Honestly, we've dumped a bunch of £50 notes off there, and they've got nowhere to spend it. What are we meant to be doing with these? No advantage at all. It was naive. Now, we left it too late. We did leave it too late, but other clubs were doing deals on transfer deadline day. So not only did we identify the players too late, not only that, we couldn't get the deals over the line. So the identification process was no good, the differing was no good, but then, at least when it was decided, actually, let's bid for him, and him, they weren't even able to do it. So I think it's fair to say other clubs are better at getting transfer deadline day deals done than us. Other clubs are better at identifying players than we are. Basically, we're disadvantaged because we can't get deals over the line. Not particularly good, I've got to say. Not particularly good. It may well turn round and be fine. We may well I hope we do win the next game. We may go on and win the next 4 or 5 games. But what we didn't do was pay attention. Man United were very much saying, we're not going to sell you this guy. We were told, we're not going to sell you this guy. We'll see you as a rival. Man United don't need the 5, 10 million or whatever they're going to lose on Jesse Lingard. They don't need it. Their turnover's a lot. I don't know what it is. 600-700 million a year? I don't know. Whatever it is, it ain't that important to them. So actually, they would rather not strengthen someone that's in a similar league position than we are. Now, Man United could identify us as rivals, yet we seem incapable of identifying Tottenham as rivals. Because what has happened here is David Moyes has very much looked across to North London, ain't far away, the Tottenham ground, let's be fair. He's had a look over there and he's seen them strengthening. Not only strengthening, he's seen Tottenham getting rid of players they don't want or don't use. Conte knows, I ain't going to use Dele Alli, I ain't going to use Ndombele, they can go. There was no clear out West Ham, no Yarmolenko, no Masuaku. Now I understand that Ndombele and Dele Alli are going to be more attractive to buying clubs than Yarmolenko and Masuaku. But clearly, Tottenham are making moves to cement their top 4 position. If Tottenham get top 4, there'll be no fluke. It's not been through luck. We have looked at them. We've not identified them as rivals. We've basically surrendered it and said, you know what, we'll go the way they are. For too long, David Moyes was banging on about, we were 2 points behind Chelsea last season. We've got to get those 2 points. Where did all that go? He was saying it up until a week ago, by the way. It's like he hasn't noticed what's going on with the other clubs. Yeah, we are weaker. They are now stronger than us. And again, it hangs in the balance. It hangs in the balance by us having to keep everybody fit. Now, as I say, we may well do it, but it's left us in a really, really bad position. I'm not even going to get onto the Declan Rice thing in this particular video because I'll deal with that tomorrow. But it's left us in a precarious position of hoping everything turns out okay. But actually, now, we may need almost a whole new team next season. I don't mean everyone, by the way, but when you look at who's going, Noble and Krau and Areola and Yarmolenko and Masuaku and Fredericks, there's 6, Randolph, Martin, there you go, right? And we didn't bring in the striker we already need. Are we going to bring in, I've said this before, are we going to bring in 10 players and we can't bring in 1? Next to impossible, I would imagine. Anyway, so he must have some confidence in doing that. I don't understand it. And this has been a mess. It's been a mess, and that's Moyes' part in it. And don't get me wrong, I don't want David Sullivan going and buying players that David Moyes doesn't want. But where is the structure in this? We have a new board here. If these were phantom bids and we can't, or even at best we can't get a deal over the line, even if we suppose Newman is not involved at all, and it was Sullivan trying to do the deals, and he's failed. He failed to do any transfer deadline day deals. We've already ascertained that David Moyes gets his list in late. Fine, okay, but then do the deals on transfer deadline day. Well, he couldn't. And if I was Kretinsky, you're either involved in it or you're not. Because if I was him, I'd be walking in there today going, what on earth was that all about? What was that? What on earth was that? Now, he might not be surprised. He might know. But if that was me and I'd just invested whatever it is, 170 million or whatever he's paid to buy his shares in the club, I'd be turning around and saying, hold on, I've just paid a load of money. What on earth was that? I thought I was buying a club that would challenge for the European places, and we've just showed no ambition. Everyone's going to overtake us now. And by the way, where's my money? I don't understand. That's what I'd be doing. That would worry me less than him being comfortable with what's just happened. Because that would not bode well for the future. It means that basically nothing will change. It's very, very frustrating to look at this and to look at your rivals strengthening and getting deals done. And some people are just ruthless. Liverpool were ruthless, absolutely ruthless. They had a whiff that Tottenham were going to go and buy a player that actually Liverpool had earmarked for the summer. The moment they knew Tottenham were interested, they said, you know what, we'll just go and do it and we'll take it and then we'll take him now. Now, people may say that Liverpool got more money than us, I get it, but money's not, the narrative being spun here is that money is not the problem. Even David Moyes is saying it, the club are saying it, the money is there. Why can't we go and do the deals? Oh, why is this guy and over at Benfica suddenly become the target? I just don't understand it. I don't mind if he is, but why was it realised towards one or two things has happened? Neither are good. Either we knew this guy was the main target. This is Moyes' number one striker target, but we decided to gamble and wait until the last bit of the window. Big mistake. All right? Big mistake. The other one is that Moyes has only realised that's his target 2 days before the end of the transfer window. Well, that's both are horrendous. Because one of them is just a bad decision when it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for all the reasons we described before. The one that David Moyes might have decided really, really late, that ain't so good either. Where's the David Moyes MOT on that one? It was never going to be able to happen, which makes you cynical on this. Never going to be able to happen. He was in Uruguay. The guy's got a history of knee injury. How are you going to get the medical done? You can't. You just can't get that medical done at all. So when you look at it and you actually think, well, hold on. Actually, the players who people consider that we might have officially been interested in. Jesse Lingard was never going to happen. And this is the naive part. Completely naive. Naive and incompetent, by the way. For everybody, for the identification of the player through to the process of trying to get the deal over the line. And as I say, other clubs did deals on transfer deadline day, which means other clubs are better at doing it than we are. That's a disadvantage. But we've been moaning about a disadvantage quickly enough if other clubs have got better players than us. Well, other clubs have got people that are better at transfer dealings. That ain't good, right? That's not good. Particularly when we just brought in a specialist to do it. But the Jesse Lingard one, where was the wisdom in the board to say, it ain't going to happen, they're not going to do it, don't waste our time, highlight someone else. If the money's there, let's just assume the money's there. The money's there, go and get someone else. Where's the person in the boardroom to turn around and say, the realisation, the appreciation of Leeds' predicament, to say, Leeds are not going to sell Raphinha. Even David Moyes, okay, Moyes, a bit late with the suggestion there, or Rob, or whatever, bit late. Leeds are not going to do it. It's like, I'll put the bid in, but you better get something else prepared now, because they're going to say no. Why? Because it's a football realisation that there's no advantage to Leeds doing business with us. And then you get the Calvin Phillips one. Why? Oh, what, really? You want to bid for Calvin? Okay. But have you got another target? Because it's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. I can tell you now. It's obvious. Everyone knows it. Everyone knew that Leeds weren't selling Raphinha, Calvin Phillips. Everyone knew that Man United were not going to sell Jesse Lingard. Everyone apart from West Ham. And then you get to the last bit and you can't even sign a striker. For the same reasons. They were never going to do it. Never. We've never had so many people on the board. Never. The board is full. They've been announcing it over the last 6 months. Such and such has joined the board. Such and such has joined the board. Where is that bit of wisdom to actually say this isn't going to happen? Where's the contingency plan? How do we let ourselves get into a situation where we are contesting European places, and that's really what we want to go for, yet our direct rivals, we let them get a march on us? I mean, it ain't good. It ain't a good look. And everybody, it doesn't matter whether you listen to TalkSport or you watch Sky Sports News, all the pundits are all saying the same thing. This is an opportunity. West Ham are in a good position. No one's predicting relegation or anything like that, but West Ham had an opportunity, a real opportunity, if we'd have bought well, to challenge to go for a Champions League place. And we decided not to buy. Or we were too incompetent to buy it, or too naive. It doesn't really matter whether you think we were skint, stupid, naive, whatever the case may be, or incompetent. None of them are good. The net result is the same. That we have not strengthened, and now we are relying on God's grace and a fair wind to see us through to the end of the season. And we're also relying on what has been a really, really disappointing transfer window not permeating onto that transfer pitch, not onto the club itself. We've got to hope that the mood amongst the club is somehow lifted, but they've got a job on their hands. I think there'll be some players in there. There will be some who think, oh, thank goodness. Cresswell probably didn't want another left-back to be signed. You get what I'm saying. Diop probably didn't want another centre-back to be signed. There's probably players on there that will be quite pleased we didn't sign anyone. But by and large, the big players, the players that are very confident in themselves, are going to be looking at that and thinking it's disappointing. It's going to be a hard. The coaching staff are going to have their work cut out. They're all going to be disappointed. As I say, I go back to the start of the video. I'd love a penny for David Moyes' thoughts. I mean, really. As something Gio said in the video, does this money we've had to spend on a striker for the last 18 months, does that carry over? I mean, this is the point. Do we now suddenly find ourselves with a transfer kitty for next summer that's 150 million because we haven't spent it or something like that? I don't know. I'm not so sure. I'll tell you what, though, after what I've seen and what you've just witnessed in this transfer window, it is really, really hard to be confident that we'll sign anyone at all.